Terminator Dark Fate. This movie comes out November the 1st of this year. And this has been billed as the return of James Cameron to the Terminator franchise. James Cameron, he left the Terminator franchise after Terminator 2 Judgment Day. And then we got Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines, Salvation, and the horrible Terminator Genisys. And this movie, Terminator Dark Fate, it's been billed as James Cameron Returns. That's what we've seen in the marketing. James Cameron's name is plastered everywhere you look when you see Terminator Dark Fate. Now, everybody knows that James Cameron is not directing this movie. That falls to Tim Miller, the director of Deadpool. But when I heard that James Cameron was attached to this, I was super excited. I really, really was. And then recently, a few days ago or so, we found out the news. James Cameron's true role in Terminator Dark Fate. James Cameron was never on set, not even for one day. Now, I guess I shouldn't be surprised because James Cameron is very, very tied up making Avatar 2, 3, 4, and 5. So when I heard that his name was actually attached to this movie, I always wondered, how in the world is James Cameron going to have time to make a Terminator movie when he's doing all of these Avatar movies? And I get it. James Cameron, if I were you, I would actually go and make Avatar over Terminator. Because you saw how much money that first Avatar movie made? $2.7 billion. At one point, it was the highest grossing movie of all time. And if you look at the last two Terminator movies, Terminator Salvation, that movie only made $371 million worldwide. Terminator Genisys, it made more, even though it was a terrible movie. It made around $450 million worldwide. That's a disaster. It still made more than Solo: A Star Wars Story, but that's another story, so I digress. But James Cameron, never on set. Very, very surprising to me. Very, very surprising. So I'm assuming that he was just doing some type of a Skype call or something like that. Maybe he just FaceTime in to Tim Miller and said, yeah, that's good. This isn't good, that kind of thing. But he does have a producer credit on the movie, and also he gets a writing credit as well. Now, how much of the writing did he actually do with this? I really don't know, because you can literally write one page and you'll get a writing credit. Now, I think this movie actually had 4 writers. That's not a good sign. It's really, really not. Arnold Schwarzenegger did say that James Cameron, he's a control freak. But James Cameron was never on set. So how much of an influence did he really have on this movie? I do have to question that. Now, James Cameron, the man, to me, has never had a flop. Ever. And when I heard he was back, I wasn't anticipating this movie being a flop. But it's a good possibility now this movie could turn into a flop. Because I think that other people actually have more involvement than James Cameron. Now, David Ellison, who is the president of Skydance, he's involved in this movie, and he made Terminator Genisys. Not good. Definitely not a good sign. So, James Cameron, I wanted him to direct this movie when I heard him come back, but I was okay with Tim Miller. I really, really was, because I thought that James Cameron was going to pull the George Lucas and have his Irvin Kushner directing the movie, like Empire Strikes Back. And we all know George Lucas, he controls everything with Star Wars, at least he did back then. I thought James Cameron was going to have that same kind of involvement in this movie. That's just not the case. It seems like James Cameron is just involved as much as George Lucas is in The Rise of Skywalker, and George Lucas was just consulted. So it almost seems like James Cameron was just a consultant on this movie. Even though he gets the producer credit, he gets the writing credit. So this is kind of a bummer to me. This is the main reason why Terminator Dark Fate could fail. No James Cameron, no money at the box office. I don't know how else I can put that, really, you know? It's like, to use a football reference, it's like when you take off Tom Brady off the Patriots and you just throw another guy in, you're not going to win a Super Bowl. You're just not, you know? But this is just unfortunate news, man. I really was hoping for more from this movie. I'm not saying this movie can't be good, you know? I actually liked Terminator Salvation. I really did. But Terminator Salvation wasn't nearly as good as Terminator 1 or Terminator 2, in my opinion. The difference was those movies had James Cameron. This movie has a little bit of James Cameron. And to make this movie great, I think this movie needs a lot of James Cameron. So that's just my thoughts on this. What are your thoughts on this? James Cameron barely on set for Terminator Dark Fate. So what are your expectations now, knowing this news? Guys, let me know what you think about all this in the comments. If you're new here to the channel, please hit subscribe to catch future videos from me, and we will catch you on the next video. John Matrixx, out.